Simcha, celebration, Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Hello and welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Aaron Halevi. In today's show, Sara Evian shares the significance of the Jewish month of Sivan, and we host a cheesecake cook-off in preparation for the Jewish festival of Shavuot. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, or the Book of Formation, each month of the Jewish calendar corresponds to a letter of the Hebrew alphabet, a zodiac sign, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, one of the 5 senses, and a controlling limb of the body. Sara Evian discusses how these elements relate to the Jewish month of Sivan.
So we are now in the month of Sivan. Sivan is the 3rd month after Pesach. And in Judaism, we count time, our calendar, from the month of Nisan, which is the 1st month. It's the month where we came out of Egypt, liberated miraculously out of Egypt. And Sivan is Gemini. It is the month of the twins. And that's the process of every relationship that we have. We're not sure who we are as babies or children. And then we go through our adolescence and we very strongly know who we are and what we think the world should be. It is only when we are able to twin with another that we are really able to have healthy relationships. The twinning in Sivan is that we are really twinning with God. God arrives and gives us the Torah. And so we twin with God in that way through the Torah. It is also a twinning between the spiritual world and the physical world, because we learn that until the giving of the Torah, the heavens stayed above and the earth stayed below, and nothing allowed them to join. But at the giving of the Torah, this twinning happened, and now each world influences the other. By the actions that we do here in this physical world, we can move and change the spiritual worlds, and the spiritual worlds change our physical world as well. It's that type of twinning. We also twin with our siblings. We twin with ourselves, our body and our soul. That's the strongest twinning that there can be. We twin with friends, and we certainly twin with our beloveds, our partners. So it's a month really of being able, through seeing the individuality of another, by accessing our own individuality. And twinning really is about making a space for other. It's not that I am imposing myself in the space and expecting the other to then come into that. It's about really opening myself in the space so that I am able to twin. And we see this by the sense of the month. The sense of the month is about receiving. We receive the Torah. And receiving is such an amazing attribute that we have, because receiving isn't giving or taking. In order to receive properly, you really have to make space. Receiving is about being vulnerable. To really receive fully, I need to be vulnerable, and I need to take myself out of the space so that there will be space for something to fill up there. And that's why the Torah was given in the desert. It was very specifically given in the desert, because the desert is a space where nothing happens there. There isn't much growth. It's deserted, it's isolated. There is no judgment or expectation in the place of the desert. And so it, in a sense, was the only place where we really could be fully open to receive. The body part that is changed or moved in this month is the sense of walking, our right foot of walking. And walking takes us where we need to go. In Kabbalah, the human being is called a walker, whereas angels are called standers. Angels are stuck in where they are. They don't have any free choice. Human beings like us are walkers. We walk from place to place. We have choice. And it is through walking that we open up our possibilities to what is open in the world. We are continually walking and changing and looking for spaces of growth and processes of fixing and rectifying our world. Tikkun olam only comes from a place of walking. And the word to walk in Hebrew is halech. Halakha, the laws of the Torah, the mandates of the Torah, comes from this word. The Torah is given to us to show us how to walk in the world. The Torah is God's twinning with us, God's will of how we can make the world a better place. And the mitzvahs in the Torah, they really are, they 613 candles emanating from the great light of God itself. And so the Torah is a way for us to walk in the world, opening all possibilities, keeping ourselves open so that we can receive. Every Jewish person is a letter in the Torah. We are the Sefer Torah. Together we make up the Sefer Torah. Each individual is our own letter, surrounded by this beautiful white light of openness and possibility and opportunity. And when each of us are living our lives fully in this way, present and awakened in awareness, then we will write the Sefer Torah in a full way, all of us being unified and together. So I bless us this month that we are able to clean out our spaces within, having counted so many days of the Omer and refined our personality, so that we are really able to receive our own letter. Reb Shlomo Carlebach said, the giving of the Torah, we're each receiving our own love letter from God. And each of us receives a different letter, a different story, a different love from Hashem, because we are all individuals making up the totality of the human race.
Welcome back. In the coming week, Jews celebrate the festival of Shavuot, one of the 3 pilgrimage festivals. It is customary to eat dairy foods on the first day of Shavuot, and what could be better to eat than a delicious slice of cheesecake? This week, in celebration of Shavuot, Simcha hosted a cheesecake cook-off where 3 budding chefs shared their favorite cheesecake recipe.
Hi, today I'm going to make a cheesecake that I've adapted from various recipes that I've used during my time of baking cheesecakes, which has been many, many years. But for now, we're going to start with the base. I use about 60 grams of butter and ginger biscuits. I pour the ginger biscuits into the bowl and the butter, and I'm just going to mix it well with a wooden spoon. Once it's been well mixed, I'm going to put the base into the tin and press it down, just covering the base of the tin. And once it's nice and firm and in the base, we're going to pop it into the oven on 180 for about 10 minutes. So there we have the base. For this recipe, I'm going to be using 3 tubs of medium fat cream cheese, 1 tub of mascarpone, a cup of caster sugar, a 1/4 cup flour, 4 beaten eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and the juice of 1 lemon. So now I'm going to pop everything into the food processor. Okay, so we've now got the mascarpone in, caster sugar, a cup, a 1/4 cup of flour, the beaten eggs, teaspoon of vanilla essence, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit more, and the juice of a lemon. So now all I'm doing is I've put everything together in the food processor. I'm pulsing it until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Right, that looks like it's nice and smooth and creamy. I've taken the biscuits out of the oven, and as you can see, they're nicely browned. I've let the base cool down a bit. We don't want to throw the cream cheese mixture into a very hot base. It should cool. I'm now going to pour the cream cheese mixture onto the base. It's not a particularly runny mixture. It's quite thick. It's thick and creamy, and that's exactly what the consistency must be. It mustn't be a runny mixture. I'm then going to just spread it around onto the base. Right, it's now ready to be baked. I'm going to place it in the oven on 140. I've reduced the temperature to 140, and it's going to bake for about 55 minutes to an hour. And then we switch off the oven and leave it in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. The top mustn't be brown. It must look like it's just firm, but it mustn't be dark or overcooked. I'm going to make a topping for the cheesecake. There are various toppings you can do. One of our favorite at the moment is a caramel topping. Some people might find it too rich. Personally, I don't. I love it. So what I'm using is I bought the ready mix caramel. I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons. And to that, I'm adding about 1/4 cup of cream. I'm going to whisk it well together. It's going to be, it mustn't be too liquidy, but it also mustn't be very hard. You want it to kind of, to sort of spread quite easily on the cake. My cheesecake is now finished baking. I've taken it out of the oven. As you can see, the top is it's not brown at all, and that's exactly how it should look. What we have to do with it now is let it cool down completely, and then I'm going to take a knife and just loosen the edges and then take it out of the springform tin, leaving it on the base. Let it cool down completely, and just before serving, we're going to put the caramel topping on top of the cheesecake. And I hope your family enjoy this cheesecake. It's been a hit with our family.
Welcome to how I make my favorite, very, very special cheesecake. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take some butter and we're going to smear it inside along the bottom and also along the sides. Then I've already cut some baking paper, and the way I cut it is that I fold it up and then I just place it over there. And I want it to be a little bit over the edge because we're going to try to make a cheesecake with a base, not just at the bottom, but also up and around the sides. All right, now put this over here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our base. I've got 1 kilogram of crunchy biscuits. This is because we're going to make a very, very nice and delicious base, and also because it's going to come up and around the sides. First thing we do is we're going to add some of this butter. Okay. A nice mix. The way I like to test if it's ready, if you take like a blob of it and you squeeze it and it sticks together, then you know you're good to go. Here we go. Let's first apply this. So you're putting it in, push it all the way down to the bottom, and in a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to start pushing it up the side. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the base and we're just going to put it in the fridge. Let's make the cheesecake. I've got here 5 tubs of cream cheese. And we're just going to apply. I think any cream cheese pretty much works. 5 tubs. Next, we're going to add 200 grams of caster sugar and 50 grams of cake flour and a tablespoon of baking powder. I have here 5 eggs. 3 of them are whole and 2 of them I just separated and took only the yolks. All that's left to do now is give it a whiz. It started off slow and we're off. Yes. While we're doing this, we're going to go back to the kitchen and take a look at our special ingredients. Over here, what we've done, this is one of our very, very special ingredients in our Lord Have Mercy cheesecake. What we've done is we've got some Laffy Taffies and we're melting them. Then what we're going to do is, while our cheesecake mixture is mixing, we're going to take this and we are going to add it in while it's mixing. And hopefully what it's going to do is it's going to beautifully just spread throughout our cheesecake mixture, creating a lovely banana berry flavor. You've got to do it quickly because the Laffy Taffy mixture, the minute you start taking it off, it's going to start cooling down almost immediately, so we don't have that much time. In she goes. We got as much of it as we could. As you can already see, not everything got inside, and the pieces here already on the edge have already gone cold. But I think we did pretty well. We got quite a bit in. And at the end, we'll see how well we just did. And out she comes, and look at that. All it all comes off. And there it is. There we go. Our masterpiece. All right, folks, that seems to be pretty much all of our secret cheesecake mixture. All that we're going to do now is we're going to take it from here. We're going to put it in the oven at 160 degrees for 40 minutes. Then we're going to turn it off and leave it in there for another half an hour. Then you're going to take it out. You're going to leave it out for another 2 hours. And then she's done. As you can see, beautiful base around the bottom and the sides. Some marshmallow fluff.
The word Shavuot means weeks, and the festival marks the completion of the Omer, the 7-week counting period, which began at Pesach, or Passover. The festival of Shavuot is synonymous with eating dairy foods, and there are a number of reasons why. One being that the Torah, the Bible, is likened to nourishing milk. We continue with our cheesecake cook-off and see what our special guest has to say about our budding chefs.
This cheesecake that we are about to teach you how to make is a very easy method to make a cheesecake. We have 1.5 packets of crushed tennis biscuits, and we're going to add 100 grams of melted butter to the 1.5 packets of tennis biscuits. And we're going to mix these in nicely so that it is a firm mixture, not too sticky, but it mustn't be too loose. Exactly like this. So we're now going to place all the crumbs into the bowl, and we're going to be smoothing it out along the whole bowl. And we'll make sure that there are no cracks. If there's a crack, you just fill it up with more crumbs. There we have it. Our base is done.
Voila. Now, this goes into the oven on preheated oven of 180 degrees for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, we're going to be making the mixture that goes, the cream cheese that goes on top of it. We are now going to be making the mixture for the cheesecake. We have 2 eggs, we have half a cup of sugar, 250 milliliters of cream, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, 1 heaped spoon of flour, and 3 buckets of full cream cheese. Now we're going to cream the eggs and the sugar together until they are light and fluffy. Now we're going to be adding the rest of our ingredients. And you can slowly speed it up, start very slowly, and then increase the speed. Let's test once again. Seem good?
Yeah, that doesn't look too lumpy.
Okay. So now we have made our mixture, and now So very simple. We're just going to pour the mixture into the base.
The base has just come out of the oven, so it is pretty hot, so please use oven gloves as a safety precaution. Now we are evenly just spreading the mixture onto the base, and we'll go back into the oven for about 20 minutes.
And remember, you don't want such a thick mixture, otherwise you're going to have either too little of the base or you're going to have too much of the base. You want to just get it just right. You want to make sure it goes all the way to the sides and try and go a little bit over. Now we need to put it in the oven for 20 minutes at 180 degrees.
So we have 3 different cheesecakes here, all quite different. We'll start with the one in the middle, which I suppose you'll all recognize as a normal cheesecake, just slow baked and in a dish. So let's give it a bit of a taste. I certainly couldn't suffer through to eating this cheesecake. It's very nice. It's got a very nice soft cheesecake taste, which is what you want to taste. It's also been softened with a bit of lemon. So you can feel there's a bit of lemon in there, which takes away from that sweetness, but adds a different dimension to it. So quite delicious, I must be honest with you, and certainly recommended. So you ever baked that one, well done. Now let's try this monstery big cheesecake. Okay, so clearly a very different style of cheesecake. I would say that it doesn't combine as well as this one does as a cheesecake, classic style cheesecake. I would like more of a cheesy flavor to come through. I find the base is a little bit heavy for the style of cheesecake, but is it tasty? Very tasty. Is it delicious? Clearly very delicious, but very nice, very interesting. So the base was a little bit difficult to cut through, but quite delicious in its own right. So let's try this third one, which is also certainly very attractive looking cheesecake. Quite delicious. This is quite delicious. Very different again. The topping changes the whole flavor of the cheesecake. They've used a ginger base, which also changes the whole presentation of it as a cheesecake and puts in a whole different spin onto what you're expecting from it, and gives a nice variation to a normal cheesecake, and clearly delicious in its own right. If I think back onto my memory of cheesecakes, I would say that the two on the outer edges are a little bit out of the mix, where this is what I would remember, the classical style cheesecake that my mother used to bake, my grandmother used to bake, and it's certainly at this time of the year, Shavuot, where we have dairy products. Cheesecake was the absolute necessity. If you didn't have a cheesecake, well, kind of didn't finish your meal. I wouldn't want to say which one is the best or which one I would like to say I would only eat, because they're all great, and I think depending on the meal you have and depending on the company that you have and depending on the occasion, a cheesecake will always go down well, but all quite delicious and all well worth the treat. So I thank Aaron Halevi again for missing out on this special moment. And I thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll enjoy your own cheesecake when you bake it.
Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so please send us a message on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions. From me, Aaron Halevi, and the rest of the team, have a wonderful week ahead.